So Samsung just announced the new S20 Ultra, as well as a few other models of their Galaxy flagship phone. It's like $1,400, which you can really build a nice gaming PC for that. So let's talk about a few interesting things because that's pretty expensive, but let's see what we're looking forward to. Let's get started now. Hey guys, Tiago here with Classical Technology. Thank you for joining me for another video. If you like my content, remember to subscribe, smash that like button, leave a comment below. Would you consider buying the Samsung Galaxy S20 and even the Ultra version? So I'm definitely a fan of Samsung and Android. I have the Note 10 Plus here, which is their sort of previous flagship beside this new, iteration of phones that they just announced. The flip phones are cool, but there's something that really drew my attention, and that's going to be the S20, the Plus, and the Ultra. Now, the Ultra is pretty crazy because it's $13.99. You can build a pretty nice gaming computer for that much. So that's definitely the number one interesting thing about this phone is just the ridiculous price. Even the entry level S20 is going to start around $999, while this one is $13.99, but you do get some pretty cool specs, which brings us to point number two, the camera. 108 megapixel camera with 100x zoom. Now, of course, nobody's expecting this to look good at 100x, but in this case, I think that Samsung is utilizing all those pixels in order to, use their software and really do a lot of smart things, software combined with the hardware to give you really nice images. I always really like the photo quality of the Samsung Note phones, especially the last one. I think the pictures look fantastic, especially night mode, and supposedly the night mode now is even better. So I'm really excited to see hands-on reviews and see how this phone pans out. Throughout this review, I'll show you a little B-roll of, the Samsung Note 10 Plus, as well as the newer iPhone. That way you can just see what the newer one compares to this older one, and you'll see that design-wise, it's really not that big of a difference. So carrying on from that second point, let's talk about the third interesting point about this phone. It records in 8K 24 frames per second. Like, that's pretty impressive because even consumer cameras aren't up to 8K yet. I know this year we may see some 8K cameras from Canon, and most of the 8K cameras are going to be like from Red, which are ridiculously expensive. So it's really cool to see this technology in a smartphone, and the Samsung quality for 4K video looks really good, as well as the iPhone. So I'm really curious to see just how good this 8K recording is going to be. I'm actually quite excited. It's going to be pretty cool. In our everyday lives, we always use a phone to record, so having it in 8K, while not necessary, is pretty cool if it looks good, especially with the added pixels. It might just look really, really crispy. A fourth interesting thing about this phone, or maybe not so interesting, is the design. It does have that 3-lens system on the back, and now the phone just looks like any other phone. There's nothing too crazy. You could even consider it almost like the perfected version of this type of smartphone. It has a little punch out for the front-facing camera. The back does have the little bevels for the 3 lenses. So overall, nothing too spectacular here. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. It kind of blends in, but really, what could you do with a phone aside from folding it and flipping it, which seems to be the next thing coming up? And then the last thing of interest to talk about are just the specs in general. Aside from the camera specs, which are super, super impressive, the phone, you can get up to 16 gigabytes in the Ultra version. That's really impressive. Once again, that's really getting close to like a gaming PC specs. You have that new Snapdragon 865, which supposedly is really, really fast. In general, this phone does seem to have some insane processing power, not only for applications and games, but also if you're going to do like DeX, which is like their, desktop system where you can turn it into a desktop computer. Once again, getting pretty close to a gaming computer. I wonder how many years it's going to take before one of these little phones can be plugged into a monitor and actually used as the full-fledged gaming PC with graphics comparable to what we have today in like a 2060 or a 2070. That's going to be pretty interesting when you can carry your computer sort of in the palm of your hands, and it looks like it's going in that direction. It may take a few years, but if power like this is any indication, that's pretty exciting. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video on the Samsung S20 Ultra. Definitely excited to get this in for review. It looks like a really spectacular phone with a lot of very cool specs. We'll see if that translates to, the real world performance and the real world visuals, and see if it really, really lives up to all the specs. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.